That looks weird. Hey, folks. Hold on. This screen is all odd. Let's see if I can fix it. Hey, we're back. We're going to do some more combat and exploration, asset production. Give me a second here to figure out what the hell happened to my world. It just got weird, that's all. Cool. Sometimes life just gets weird, that's all. Okay, great. Hey, we're sitting pretty. Let me check my signal, go through my spiel. Excuse me. And then we'll get into this. Excuse me. And then we'll... Alright, cool. Sounds like my signal's clear. If you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter at Phil Kearney. I'm going to punch my signal here real quick across the Discords, and then we'll get into it. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplement PDFs. I've been focusing on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There is a slew of work that I've published on DMsGuild.com. That is in the link down below. That is a slew of stuff that... Hold on. There's a slew of stuff there. Maybe like you can click on any of the books, and when you go to the product page, if you're on a mobile phone, there's an eye icon on the right-hand side of the page. If you are on a tablet or desktop, then the product page has the cover image, like you can see here, and then underneath it would be a quick preview and a full preview. If you click on full preview, or if you click on the eye icon, either way, it's going to pop open a PDF. It's a full document, 100% preview, all of the pages, cover to cover. You can read anything that I publish. Is always going to be 100% free publication for you to read. There's probably maybe 150 different illustrations that I've done in there across the different books. So if you're an art enthusiast, please be welcome to click them open and check out the work that I've done. If you are a D&D enthusiast, then certainly check out the mechanics. See if it's something that you want to have. If you want to explore for your own game, be welcome to play a 20-level campaign with any of this stuff as you wish. If you think any of it looks valuable, please consider purchasing. It certainly helps offset some of the time and focus and attention that it requires to produce these things in the first place, and it's greatly appreciated. So this next book that we're in the process of creating, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, it too will be 100% free preview once it's published on the DMsGuild, and we've been going through the process of when we built this book cover, like around episode 15 of our Spelljammer live stream channel. That's the playlist that's in my channel, so you can subscribe, and hit the bell to get more shenanigans from me in the future. Click the the bell icon, all the stuff that you do on YouTube to help boost signals. It is immensely helpful. I'm about 1,035 hours of watch content. We got 140 subscribers now. Thanks a lot, guys. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of consumed content, then I can monetize the channel and start getting paid to do artwork with you guys here in real time. So that would be a great way to support the channel. Check out the books. Follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney, and let's get into this. So we've been working on the fighter craft here, which are ships that are less than 50 feet in scale. So, hi. Don Thornton, hi. Nice to meet you, my man. So if you're familiar with Spelljammer from 2nd edition or 5th edition, here we're looking at a dragonfly craft in profile, and overhead here's the map, the deck plans for the ship at the 5-foot scale. The fighter craft that we build, like for example, we finished the cuttlefish, we have the goblin arrow, and we have just a simple skiff. These are all at 5-foot scale. They are small fighter craft that use minor helms to be able to travel. And in comparison, we have the tokens that we created for the Spelljammer vessels, like the damselfly, the hammerhead ship, the Night Spider. These are all included with the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that we are going to be publishing on the DMsGuild. These are 50-foot squares here. So a hammerhead ship, for example, is 250 feet long. It fits in a 250 by 250 foot space, much like how a dragon may fit in a 20 foot by 20 foot space. So when you have a combat scale at the 50-foot scale, when you have a combat map at the 50-foot scale, your ships sit in it like that, in comparison to fighter craft, which sit inside of this, a 50-foot square. we're working on the manta ray today, so you can see a manta ray is almost filling that 50-foot space. So if you were to compare it to, let's just grab the profile here real quick to show you how it compares to the Dragonfly ship with the same scale. And in my combat system, of course, once you get inside the gravity field of a larger ship, it's going to have to disable your concentration by scuttling your ship, hitting you with direct hit, and forcing you to make a Constitution saving throw to remain in concentration of your fighter craft while you're attacking a larger ship. If it can, if they can skew your gravity or break your concentration and knock you out of orbit, then they can get away from you. Or if they knock out your concentration, the ship is open for attack without any shields on it. So, hey, what's going on here? Does it pop his wing just like a missile? That's the fun thing. In Spelljammer, they don't really specify that. So the way that I run the game is that when you take command of a spelljamming helm, you infuse your life energy into your vessel. So yes, you could be flapping your wings while you are swimming through space, or flapping your wings as a dragonfly as you're flying through space. That also means that you can use these landing gears as a slat. Like, look at that! It just looks like a giant blade, right? Well, we have mechanics for bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing rams. Like, this has got pinchery teeth. It can pierce on and clip onto your. I could have one of these things fly up and clip onto your ship. So it's now grappling you, and you can't shake it out of your gravity field until you're able to break the grapple. You have to spend action economy, just like in normal D&D 5e combat, to shake the ship loose, to get it off of your ship. Otherwise, you're going to have crew disembarking from the fighter craft that are invading your space, jump onto your deck and start messing up your crew, take over the ship, and run off with it. Zzz. That's piracy, man. So that's what we've been doing. That's the kind of mess that we've been getting up into. All this stuff is going to be 100% free preview. If you're into Spelljammer at all, you're going to have full access to all this stuff for you to look through. And but there's going to be a ton of assets. There's also the conversion for a lot of Zaraxis using this system. So if supporting the effort certainly goes a long way. So hold on, I'm going to. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I want to go to color. So we're coloring the tokens right now. Here's the difference here is this is a siege weapon and these are mounted weapons. Siege weapons do like a ballista, like say does d4 times 10 damage when it hits, while say like this, if this is a harpoon flinger, like from Descent into Avernus, it's just a 2d8 damage. And you have to get over the damage resistance of the ship to be able to damage it in the first place. Meanwhile, so these siege weapons can easily get over damage reduction of, like, say, vessels and stuff. But they're too big to be able to target individual crew members that have cover. That's why you need the smaller mounted weapons to be able to take out crew, which deal significantly less damage, but are pretty good against commoners. So, hey, Manta Ray looks great. Thanks. I can't remember. I can remember sci-fi shows that had ships like that. Space Ghost ship. You're right. Space Ghost ship was like a Manta. That is awesome. Yeah, it's fun. I'm ganking a lot of this stuff from 2nd edition. I had bought the original Spelljammer box set at Barnes and Noble when I was, I want to say I was 14 years old, and immediately fell in love with it. It's been my favorite setting forever. And then when Planescape came out, I blended Planescape and Spelljammer together. So unironically, I've been using the Astral Sea as my transitive plane for Spelljammer for literally ever. Sorry, get my Valley Girl going there for a second. Let's see, what is my floor plan supposed to be? Okay, let's get the Drek out of the way, and we're going to use the Dragonfly for our sample color palette on this particular adventure today. So let's see. Contemplating my next move. Okay, I think I know where we're at. I'm going to just grab a basic color and check my palette here real quick. Ugh, God, it's always so rough. Let's just let's transform our selection. Contract. Yeah. Can you do the same thing again? Yes, I mean you can. Yes, absolutely. I use Photoshop because I'm really familiar with Photoshop, and I get paid regularly to illustrate, so it's an easy expense for me to write off. But I used GIMP when I started illustration way back in the day. All you really need are, I just use layers. I use a lot of layers, and I think GIMP has a layer limit, but does have that same functionality. It's been a very long time since I've used GIMP. But my tools are very basic. I just use a smudge brush and a regular painting brush. So, and I have a lot of drafting experience from college, so it's pretty easy for me to take a deck plan like this and be able to build a side profile out of it. And this will come in handy once we get into the more complicated illustrations that we put inside of the book. There'll be opportunities for us to have ships fighting each other and people jumping from ship to ship and throwing spells at each other as they do. I could probably get a better clean selection field around this and fill it in quicker, but this is my process that I follow. So it's super stupid simple. And the layouts that I do for Booker and Microsoft Word, I don't even use a complicated page layout program. It's the whole point of the stream is like how dummy simple doing stuff can be. Like the techniques are easy. The skill comes in just with experience of doing it. So there's the familiarity with the things that you're working on, and how comfortable you are with the tool sets that you're using, and how much time you invest to get good at using them. So. Oh my gosh, I'm mincing on stuff already. I got better sleep last night than I did the night before, so I'm feeling stronger there. Have you tried to animate the ship once you have them made? No, I'm not much of an animator. I wouldn't even know how to start doing that. But it's certainly I don't think. I'd like to get into animation someday, but honestly, I think what I'm going to be able to do, and everyone's going to hate myself for this, I should be able eventually to create assets like this and just drop them into an AI generator to be able to do animations for me. So I'm waiting for technology to get strong enough to animate for me. I'll be able to provide the visual assets, and I might even be able to do some of the rigging. But I think AI eventually is going to be able to help me animate stuff. I won't have to worry about it. That is, I don't lament artists that are angry about AI potentially eating their lunch as far as like original character commissions and stuff. Like, why would I regularly get paid $250, $300 for character illustrations when I choose to invest in my time in doing so. But I don't think I'm going to see a lot of people willing to do that anymore once AI really kicks in. So I haven't really, my income isn't reliant on character art at all at this point. It's always been an uphill battle. I went through the process of having to do hand-drawn illustrations for clients that I would have to scan and email. I went through that process into the early days of digital Photoshop, where I was just doing ink art and grayscale stuff on the computer because third-party content couldn't afford color production, so they only asked for black and white gray art. And as print on demand evolved, so did the demand for color work. And I've always been a digital. I don't see any color, so the only way I can do color is through digital machinery using an RGB slider scale up here. The reason I actually switched to Photoshop is because at the time in the 90s, I hated GIMP's color interface tools. They were difficult for me to figure out what color I was actually using. The system God willing, has improved since then. But since I couldn't see any color, I had to have good color tools. and Photoshop offers the best. So it helps me get over my limitation of not really knowing what it is that I'm looking at while I do it, but having faith in the math of what the statistic, of what the RGB breakdown is, allows me to accomplish color work. So, I don't know if you were around when I first started the stream, but I was able to use this. I was able to use color references off of various equipment and objects and photo references to be able to create this cover. All my work is like that. So, yeah, there's absolutely no problem with that. That's smart. If it has the tools that you need, and you can accomplish the results that you want with the tools that you use, then you are absolutely making a smart decision. But again, the color tools are really good for me. I have to use those. So yeah, it's not original. No, it certainly is not original. So I do think it's going to be really useful for animation. That once you create, I'll be able to create my, for example, you're talking about making a flapping, flapping wings on this. I can create a visual asset and then have it probably help me animate it pretty easily. I have a little bit of experience in Flash animation back in when Flash was a thing, back in 2004, and that was a pain in the ass. But no, yeah, we're doing good here. We're doing good. Hold on, I had to check myself real quick. I'm happy with the results. So yeah, what I think AI will do is be able to make it really easy to do small scale animations like flapping wings and stuff like that. I aspire to make D&D music videos from songs that I like, create themes around the music, and I was looking at some Korean animation studios that would charge me basically $10,000 per minute of animation if I provide the assets. But I'm not at that scale yet. But AI may get me to a point where I can hire somebody using AI to do rigging, so the cost could come down to potentially maybe even $2,000 per minute, which just starts to become honestly very legitimate, man. I could put out, I could do the Immigrant song. It's a 3.5 minute song. It cost me about $6,500. At that scale, it'd be $6,500 to produce a 3-minute animation of D&D characters fighting to the Immigrant song. That's a compelling conversation for me. I could kickstart that kind of stuff. And if you're upfront about it, it's hey, I'm going to hire an animation studio to help make this stuff work, but we're going to build the assets here on stream, and we're going to work out all the keyframes for what things are supposed to do. I think once I figure out keyframes, it should be pretty easy for me to be able to recruit somebody that can figure that stuff out. That's not my skill set, though. My skill set is mostly game mechanic design and again, obviously, illustration and cartography. I've been building an Eberron adventure for 7th and 8th level characters. That's one of my playlists is doing all the cartography for the Eberron adventure, which has been an absolute treat to do. Yeah, it sure did. Everything evolves in time. You gotta get rid. When it goes, you gotta go. You always gotta keep moving and keep evolving with what you got going on. It's okay to hyper specialize as long as you know where to look at, who can help you with the generalizations. So I'm okay not knowing how to personally animate anything. I know that we're eventually going to have a lot of people that are going to get really, really good at using AI tools to animate stuff, and it'll become very accessible to low and indie users like myself to be able to kick out really, really cool looking stuff. So I am very excited about the time when I could create a sketch of something and then have Photoshop create iterations, or even more so filigree and texturing patterns. That is something that I'm really looking forward to, because I like making patterns, but I don't like having to mess around with the physics and the math and the geometry of it curving around surfaces. I suspect we're going to have AI that's going to help resolve that stuff pretty easily, just as almost like a filtering tool, where you can just apply a pattern and then it'll be able to iterate different versions of how that pattern can be applied, which can be its own form of fun, but I have to put in the initial footwork to make the machine work. So I am in no way lamenting the progression of the technology. It's here. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of getting on board with it. And I don't want to be a scripter. I think the AI is going to get to a point where it's going to help make scripting a little bit more intuitive than how the current tools work. So I don't mind waiting until a really effective user interface is created to make all this stuff really intuitive to use, and that can integrate in with using a tablet. I just use a cheap little 6x9 Wacom tablet, and I use the art pen that allows me to. Here, I'll show you a brush. Like it allows me to spin the brush, and which is really important for the kind of work that I do. I do a lot of fractal based curving, like using the same shape imagery and curving them into smaller shapes. Like I do that a lot with leaves and clouds and organic stuff, and mostly. Transform, flip vertical. Cool thing about doing these ships is that you only have to do half of it right, because then you can just slide the rest of the piece into place. Perfect. Merge down. I can make that partially opaque, just so I can see what I'm working on right now until I get the deck plan figured out. So we're going to use the same color scheme as we have for the dragon, the damselfly. So I'm going to grab this darker color here as my base. Thanks for hanging out, dude. It's nice to have people around. Is that the exact same color? Tell me that's the exact same color. No, it's not. That was a purple, and this is a blue. Okay, that's cool. Purple engaged. Oh, I'll grab my microphone. You can probably hear me better. There are YouTube videos who script for ChatGPT. Neat. Maybe they could make you a script for animation. Trusting too much the computer. What will you do when they illustrate? I'm a game designer. So what happens when ChatGPT makes D&D books? There's always a loss. There's always something. But people. I don't need to camp, but I like watching survival channels on YouTube talk about like what kind of plants are healthy. How can I find a warm place to sleep in an empty frozen field? There's always value. So my value. I stopped taking freelance commissions for artwork a number of years ago, and started diverting my effort into creating game supplements that I could illustrate. So my advantage is that when I build a book, I have full control over what the assets are. ChatGPT, as you said, you don't have control over the assets that Chat creates. You just settle for what ChatGPT hands you, and at some point you say, "Good enough." That's the problem with whether it's a robot or or just some kid that's cheap to work with. The problem is that you are having to request something that you're attempting to tell it what you want, and you may have a specific thing that you want, but you don't have the skill set to be able to produce that thing yourself, right? So now you have to find examples and images of something that looks like what you want, and then try to explain to your GUI, I like this, but it's not what I want. I actually want it to be changed like this. And then GUI says, like this? And you say, no, I want it different like that. And it's like this? And then you say, no, I want it different like this. And it says, like this? And then your response inevitably is going to be good enough. That is the plight of the unskilled. The advantage that artists have over the unskilled is how precisely they can create what they want for themselves. So the transition from moving out of being a freelance illustrator into being a game designer allows me the opportunity to put on the page exactly what I want to be on that page, the way that I want it to be. I don't have to ask a computer or a third-party illustrator, hey, I want this thing, what do you think you can come up with? I can get exactly what I want on the page that I'm working on right now. Here, I'll show you real quick. Let's just grab. Hold on, did I fix that? Yeah, I fixed that. Let's make an example here. Let's go down to the illustration examples here. Pacts and patrons of Ravnica, Warlock options is one of the things. I'll get back to token creation here in a second. I just want to prove a point. And again, you can click on any full preview of any book that I've created. Here, check this out. You can see over here that this is a 33-page, a 33-page document there. And when you click on the free preview, 33 pages. So I produced this book. I created all the artwork for this book. So I created all the Warlock options for different Ravnica. If you're into Ravnica, Magic the Gathering, there's 10 guilds that rule the world of Ravnica. And each one of those guilds has two colors. Like Boros here is red and white. Gruul is green and red. Rakdos is black and red. And then, so they each have their own color combinations. They have their own theme to them. So when I create this book, I create all the concepts, the ideas, I do the writing, I do the page layouts, and then I create all the illustrations for it as well. So as we go through this book, all these illustrations are specifically what I want the illustration to be to match up with what is in the book. So I can create, this is all my artwork. These are all my game designs. My personal advantage is that I can create a book and then I can illustrate that book to have exactly the kind of imagery that I want in it to depict what's going on inside of the game. So that's my power, that's my control. And I could have AI produce stuff for me, but AI isn't going to give me exactly what I want. AI is going to give me something that is good enough. So, and for many people, that's what they're stuck with anyway. So a lot of people feel threatened by it. It's like, wait a second, you used to pay me to do this stuff, and now you don't have to. But that illustrator didn't have control of the book that it went into, and the book didn't have control over the illustrations that went into it. The thing that's changing here is the books still don't have control over what illustrations are going to go into the book, but art directors are used to that. The people that are getting fucked with here are the people that used to get paid to have the conversation and produce assets for those art directors. I am my own art director. All I have to do is invest time and effort, which I put online here. So people that aspire to become their own artists as well, they're not going to learn anything from GPT, but hopefully folks can just kick back and do some study hall with me here and grind through work themselves. And they can pick up on what it is that I'm doing. And it's part of, like I've said multiple times, integrity. When a computer can produce anything for you, the only thing that's of value that remains is the authenticity of an individual's experience and their ability to communicate and share it with you. And I think art streams like this are really helpful to be able to maintain that relationship. So we're going to go into our Dragonfly token again. Grab our shading like that. But that's just me. Opinions may vary. But again, the reason I have this stream is because I started streaming artwork in the first place is because I had a big book of business. You can check down the link below. There's about 150 illustrations across those books. Like, that's a heavy lift. The 5-color mana spell point variant rule book that I created, it's a 75-page document, and it has 60 illustrations in it. It was a monster to create. And if you get intimidated, if an artist gets intimidated, they procrastinate. If they procrastinate, they aren't pushing pixels. If they ain't pushing pixels, the book doesn't get done. So I had to build discipline for myself to keep my ass in the chair, and I had the big brain idea of, well, if I start streaming stuff, it's not like I can dive down a rabbit hole of Reddit feeds while I'm streaming. I have to stay on target. So that ended up working really, really well, and so I've just started to stick with it. So whenever now I do the page layouts as well. So on Saturday mornings, I do page layout for the Spelljammer book. And once these ship token assets are done, I'll be doing page layout all the time, because that's the next step. After these ship tokens are done, the next step is page layouts. So I've already done a lot of, I'll show you on this one too, since we're here. This is a 93-page document about combat and exploration and Spelljammer, as the title would suggest. Spelljammer, combat and exploration, right? So I've been trussing up all of the font sizes, but here's the full Monty of the book. It talks about like ship equipment and how ships are built using this system. Then it goes into combat and action economy and characters' roles aboard the ship. And then it goes into spell casting and how to upscale spells to affect things a mile away. And then it goes into exploration about how to see things like at 10,000 miles away or a mile away, or like how do you interact with objects? How does gravity work? Like how do you get in and out of gravity fields? Well, what's it like to fly a Spelljammer through atmosphere on a planet? And then it gets into like creatures and hazards on ships. Lifestyles, and then once we get through that, then we have the creature menagerie of how do you upscale creatures to be larger than 20 feet in size, and there's a number of them that are in the Spelljammer book already that can use those mechanics. And then we get into the planet system, like the system generator, and then we have 25 pages of using all those 50 pages worth of 70 pages worth of mechanics on how to make Spelljammer work. We use the last 25 pages to convert Light of Xeraxis, which is the official Spelljammer adventure that Wizards published. We convert the entire adventure using these mechanics that we create, so that you can use fighter craft, like your characters can get fighter crafts like this, and it helps in different ship battles that you have. And it certainly makes it easier for you to jump from ship to ship when you have a skiff that can jump, that can bridge the distance. So you may or may not be familiar with D&D or Spelljammer or Light of Xeraxis specifically at all, but the tools that I built I create them to change the experience that you have with the D&D adventures that people are purchasing. So they'll spend $60 on an adventure and they'll be like, wow, what did I get here? And it's like, well, this is what you can do with those ideas. Like if you flesh out those ideas, this is what they can become. That's my shtick. So I will always have value because I convert ideas and I expand on how, specifically for role-playing games, how you can expand the use of Dungeons and Dragons to create different sort of campaign options. And then I provide the rules, mechanics for how to do that. And then I illustrate them so that you can see, like I can control all the diagrams, I can control all the charts, and I can control all the illustrations so that all of the visual assets that I put in the book I create feed into what I envision these mechanics to be. So it makes it easier for you as a consumer to grok it, fall in love with it, and then want to do it themselves. So I do the whole process here on stream because if anybody wants to get into making RPGs themselves, this is like you may decide to hire an artist. You might not be able to paint yourself, but you can see like what goes into the process of doing these things. So when you're talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm going to need $500 for that map, you're like, why? It's like, well, go watch 60 hours of filmmaking a map, and that'll kind of give you the idea of why I'm asking for the prices I'm asking. Like, I think that's a worthwhile. I just think those are worthwhile conversations. Duplicate. We're gonna flip. But a lot of people don't know what goes into making RPGs, so this is an opportunity for me to demonstrate some of that stuff. And obviously, it's a very long tail advertisement for the work that I'm doing to begin with. But then all the books are 100% free to read, so it's not like you're getting joked on anything. If you don't like the stuff, don't fucking buy it. But you have the opportunity to look at it all. And my work consists. Well, honestly, there's a large Magic the Gathering audience out there that wants to use D&D stuff, and honestly, I'm the only guy that's offering the mechanics to do it. Wizards could do it, but I don't think they've been willing to invest the brain power on how to figure it out. So that's what third-party schmucks like me exist for, to help bridge that gap. But I love doing it. It's a hell of a feather in my cap to be able to pull the stuff off in the first place. So, bragging rights, Oh, it's raining outside. That's wonderful. I love rain in Seattle. It's so gorgeous. What? Okay, something's happening here. What is ain't exactly clear. Do you have a purpose? Nope. Perfect. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Okay, cool. Let me grab this for my floor color. What do we got going on over here? DRD, yes, Spelljammer, no. Right on. So you stream about making books and not just drawing. Yeah, right now I'm illustrating ship tokens. Last night, I was doing cartography for the Eberron adventure that I hired Andy Headley, who does a lot of Call of Cthulhu adventure stuff. I hired him to help me in this cosmic horror adventure for Eberron. It's a 7th, 8th level character adventure for Eberron. So this is the map that I've been streaming for the underground complex. Like this is one of the dungeons in that adventure. So I've been doing the cartography for this adventure, and it's a work in progress. But like when this one is done, it'll end up looking like this one. Give me a second. While that chokes on itself, we can go back over here, and we can scroll down. Like if you look in my description down below, all these books are free preview. We can, let's see, more from me. Let's find Elemental Key. That's a good one. This is a book about, this is a deep dive into Way of the Four Elements monks using color mana or elemental magic. Like here's their spell list. I made them a half caster, and they can use either air, earth, fire, or water magic. So the key points that they use, like if you assign all your key points to air, you can prepare these different spells to use. Like you can prepare like Fly, for instance. Fly is a 3rd level spell. Where is it? Fly. There you go. That's air magic. So if you devote all of your key today to air, and then you prepare air spells, then you can just spend key points to cast these different elemental spells. And then we have blue, red, green energy over here for Magic the Gathering, like if you're playing Gruul, But we built all this, and then we did all the illustrations for this book. If you check in my playlist down below, there's the Elemental Key stream that we did all of these illustrations on the pages. Like I peeled these pages out of Photoshop, out of this Word document, and then I dropped them into Photoshop here, and I painted these icons, and I painted like this mountain terrain, and I did this illustration. Like I did all this stuff on stream as well. So right now we're doing the page layouts for this. So on Saturday we're going to come in, and like you can see here that these are 2 columns, but up here it's only 1 column because this is as far in the book as I've gotten. I've been working backwards, forwards, and this is as far as we've gotten in the book. So on Saturday, when we run our stream, I'm going to be breaking down this document. I'm going to be converting these single columns into 2 columns, and then seeing how and then moving the text around to make sure that it sits on the page properly. Page layouts. And when the page layout is done, then I can come in and I can like build the page dressing, which is like the border art, and like how we frame. Let me get you like the number framing, the background color that I use for the page, the tables and charts building set up like this. Like I have these like little faded lines that I frame tables in this document. I get to create all this language, this visual language, using Spelljammer concepts to be able to do the page dressing for this as well. And once that page dressing is done, then we'll have all these gaps. Like you can see gaps here and here and here and here. Like a map is supposed to be in this spot here. Like all these little gaps are places I can put illustrations into the book. So hopefully by Monday we'll be done with the layouts and all the ship tokens that we're working on right now. But here's a 55-inch map that we created for Eberron. That is like a ridiculous, like these are 5-foot squares, right? So the thing is, your characters run around, and there's different like things that they can, not only monsters, but there's different scavenger hunt type things that they can acquire inside of here to help them through the rest of the adventure. And then like inside of this crypt here, like that's the roof of it, but we built the assets that you can remove the roof. So those are separate assets that you place on top of the larger map. And you go through here, and if you beat this crypt, there's a secret door that opens. Spoiler alert. There's a secret door that opens up here that then takes you down into the dungeon here. Here's the pathway, but there's other upstairs dungeons that lead you to different areas. There's a map. That map leads you here. There's another map that leads you down this spiral stairway. There's another map that leads you down this tunnel into these side tunnels into this swampy area that we've been developing. So I create the cartography, all the assets, and all the icons that go along with that. It's like you're looking at this, like with these ship icons. Let's go down and look at where is it? Show me. Plague Moss vignettes. Neogi Hunt. There we go. Oops, that one got moved. Anyway, you get the point. I'm distracting myself. But yeah, I build the maps, I do all the text, I do the page layouts, I build the tokens, and then I do all the illustrations, and I do all that on stream. So you can see what the whole process is. If you check out my Martial Powers playlist, that's something that I am actively writing on stream. It's an alternate magic system for martial characters to be able to do like alternate smites and reactions and stuff. And it's all like instant. You spend mana and you create an instant effect, or you maintain an aura around you to affect your abilities. So I stream all that stuff. Yeah. Yep, not just the drawing. Though my Eberron, I would say my Eberron cartography is the most popular right now. I think it's just because there's more people in the Eberron channels where I post stuff. I think they're starving for Eberron content. So like, oh yeah, bring us on board. So when I do cartography, they show up and they take interest. So, but Spelljammer is my favorite setting. So I was already building alternate vehicle mechanics for Descent into Avernus. And then Eberron came out, and we realized that the mechanics that we're using for these small craft are the same mechanics, other than speed and flying, are the same mechanics that I use for Infernal War Machines in my alternate Descent into Avernus campaign. And once I get this published, and I finish the mass combat system that we've been developing. I've had a mass combat system in development for about 1.5 years, and it works fantastic. And I've play tested it with about 15 different people now in a number of different groups, and it consistently works. And it works with a bunch of the D&D adventures that were already published. So it's an opportunity to take that old school Beckme sort of leadership role that they assumed in the original D&D that got extracted from 3rd edition, 4th edition, and now 5th edition doesn't have it either. This leadership role that you have where NPCs just start following you because you're a hero, that doesn't exist inside of 5e currently. So we had to build all the tools to make that stuff work, and lo and behold, there's a number of campaigns that really benefit from having those mechanics. Descent into Avernus being like one of the greatest. So when we build out the mass combat book, it hasn't been published yet, but the mechanics work. While we were in the process of building that, Spelljammer happened. It's like, well, all these mechanics work for Spelljammer, and Spelljammer is a hyper-focused example of how to use our scaling combat mechanics. So let's just build the Spelljammer book. And once that's published, we can get back to the rest of the mass combat system, the kingdom generator, the guild, the guild system. All of that stuff works together, and we're going to use Dragonlance as our like I've got the 25 pages of converting Light as Araxis to demonstrate how these Spelljammer mechanics are supposed to be used, like what you can do with Spelljammer if you use my mechanics. The Dragonlance campaign and the Dragonlance board game, we can convert both of those things into my mass combat mechanics, and it's fucking fun to do it. So I get to build out, I get to take all the Dragonlance campaign and I get to convert it. Hey, if you're using my mass combat system, here's how like encounter number 1 works. Here's how encounter number 2 works. Here's how the first scrimmage challenge in the board game works using my mass combat system. So you don't have to spend $90 buying a board game to stop playing D&D and start playing Hasbro's Dragonlance board game because you want to run a goddamn Dragonlance campaign. Instead, I'm going to give you the tools to build those encounters yourself. I'm going to model every one of the adventure, all of the options that are in the board game. I'll put out as you can use my mass combat system in the Dragonlance setting to do this. And I'm going to start playtesting that stuff, I think, in September. So I won't be publishing it until next year, but that's okay. It's a huge freaking project. But that's the kind of stuff that I like to do. It's like, here's a mass combat system. Here's how you could use it in Dragonlance. Here's all the assets, maps, tokens, and statistics that you need to do it. Now go have fun. And now that you know how to do that stuff, you can start implementing that stuff into your own campaign. So then I can start doing things like rebuild the Rock of Brawl for Spelljammer, for instance, and then have a siege adventure where maybe a pirate nation is trying to take over a 5-mile asteroid base. I can build all the stats and stuff that go along with that. I can map it out, illustrate it, and then hand it out to people on the DMsGuild or maybe through Patreon. So that's the power of having full control over all the asset production inside of a RPG supplement. I can build anything I want, and I can build any assets that I want for it along with it. But it takes all the skills. Like, you have to be able to do illustration, you have to be able to do cartography, you have to be able to do writing, you have to be able to do game design, to be able to do all of these things together. But some people can, and some people aspire to do that. And I think this channel is most calling out to those people. But people that love cartography, I'm doing cartography stuff. People that like fantasy illustration, I'm doing fantasy illustration stuff too. Like, all this stuff feeds together. And I do it all because it's such a heavy lift. If I don't hold myself accountable, it could take forever. And I've got people that I've hired that expect to get paid for this stuff, so I need to get it produced. The best way to guarantee I can get things done is by streaming, keeping my ass in the chair and pushing the pixels. So here we are. Anyway, Bob's my uncle. Let's break that up. There we go. Oh, I don't have my timer set. It's almost 7 o'clock. I've got another hour. I have not set. I typically keep a 20-minute timer so I can keep track of time. It's like, why doesn't my timer pop? It's 'cause I didn't set one. But I'm actually thinking, God, I'm thirsty. Nice cool water. Now I'll drink some coffee. Brah. Okay, so far so good. What's next? Cool. Ooh, baka baka. Hold on. Let's work. Let's go grab more color samples. Let's grab the dragonfly wing. Nurbles. Let's go with here. Got this curl going on with the tail. So that might be its default position, but obviously when the pilot is animating the ship, it can flap around and stuff like that. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of framing, like how do I want to do this? Proper. Let's duplicate those. And then free transform, flip vertical. Yeah. Just like that. Pixel perfect. Yeah, let's just leave B. Correction. Erps. Let's fix my mistakes. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. Yeah, 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 yeah. Picking at this. There we go. Let's go back to our black and white. Black, black, black. Deck plan. Get chugga chugga. Fixing. Look, I have that stacked up proper. There. Color. There, now we have right proper. Almost. Just fixing stuff. Nice. There we go. There we go. Proper. That'll doodle. All right, back at it. Now we've sussed out all that crap. Yeah, after doing all that, I end up going back to this. How about that, huh? Cool. What's next? Oh, wings. Right. Let's go grab another color. What are we gonna do? Let's just keep that. I like playing with these gradients are very satisfying when you get a good smooth transition. It just feels very satisfying. And I'm making sure this is on a low layer, like I can, it doesn't affect the interior at all. So stacking my layers up allows me to control my visual elements by making sure this is underneath the deck, the actual flight deck. I can be sloppy with with the border here between the deck plan and the actual Manta wing. The Spelljammer is such a cool campaign setting, man. It's space pirates are just cool, and there's a lot more. There's a lot of deep physics that goes along with like space travel in general that deserves a lot of attention. That just Wizards just didn't provide the page count needed to express all these ideas. Like they took 30 pages for Saltmarsh to just to build basic boat, like cargo boat on a river. It literally takes twice as much to do space. Like I know that for a fact because I just built 60 pages worth of content for doing boat combat in space. Like I know what I'm talking about. So, but it really deep dive, like the stuff that we have here just really deep dives in a bunch of subsystems that you can like pick and choose from what you would use in your campaign. But using them all together, it creates a really smooth, consistent language on how to deal with large scale stuff, which is kind of the core of most of these command system mechanics that I've been building. Like it started off with like what can I do to make it sensible? Like how can I design something that makes sense for a druid to summon 16 dogs to fight and battle with them? Like what can I do to make that fun and not obnoxious? And like if I have a necromancer that wants to command 20 zombies in combat, how can we do that without making it completely obnoxious for everyone at the table to have to deal with it all the time? Like that's where it started. And once we started resolving mechanics for, yeah, we can do squads like this, like little combat squads, in these quick and easy 5e combat mechanics. Like, well, we can maybe apply that to more things. What else can we do with it? And then Descent into Avernus had infernal war machines. It's like, well, these vehicle rules for Descent into Avernus aren't really satisfying, so let's build them using our command mechanics, but instead of commanding a squad of creatures, you're now commanding a vehicle that's anywhere from 10 feet to 20 feet in size. And up, your Spelljammer, that's commanding vehicles anywhere from 75 to 250 feet in size. Well, why can't we use the Descent into Avernus mechanics that we developed for trucks? Why can't we use that for ships? Well, we can. So now we have the same vehicle mechanics scaling from 10 feet in size to 200 or 500 feet in size. And like, well, if we have it scaling up to there, what about like the Citadel, like the Imperial Citadel in Light of Xeraxis is a 1 mile size facility, and like Rock of Brawl is an asteroid community that's 3 miles long. And well, the mechanics that we have for ships up to 500 feet also work for facilities and structures up to 5,000 feet, which is a mile, 10 miles, 100 miles, and now we scale all the way up to 100 million miles. And well, Forgotten Realms is in a system that is literally 1 billion miles wide, so we can scale into that. So we have mechanics for scaling up to the 1 billion mile scale. But you'll see it all in the book. Once I start doing, when I'm doing page layouts, I'll have to spend time on each individual page, and that gives folks an opportunity to kind of get a preview of what's going to be in the book, because it'll be there on the page I'm doing layouts for. So we'll see if, as I go through certainly when I get into the illustration process, but we'll see during the trim stage and the page the text scooting stage Saturday, how much I can actually talk about stuff. And like I don't do layouts. This is the first time I've done layouts on stream. Illustration's easy enough because it's just pushing pixels. I don't actually have to think about anything. I suspect I can get away without having to think when I'm doing, like when I'm pushing text around. It's not much different from pushing pixels. So I should be able to just ramble on about crap that's on whatever page it is that we're working on at the moment. But we'll do a full page walkthrough as well. Kind of liking this. $40 minutes left. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. go. There's a toy husky dog that lives up in the apartment above me. And he gets the rips and the scampers in the morning. It's fun watching him running around. Makes my chandeliers shake. I like dogs, but I don't want to own one. I don't want to have to deal with taking them out and pooping them all the time. I like how independent cats are. I can just take care of the kitty litter when I come home, you know? Not bad. Nice. I am really happy with this. Duplicate the layer. Free transform. Flip vertical. Flip vertical. There we go. Flip vertical. Now, baby. No regrets. Yeah. There we go. Nice. Man, that's turned out neat. I like it. Of course I do. I made it. Why wouldn't I like my own stuff? I'd throw it away if I didn't like it. Last bit. Oh, let's see. Let's grab. Let's just grab that color. Nah, not the color I want after all. How about like that? Better. No, no, no. Nice. And let's highlight that. There we go. Just like that. There we go. And how are we doing on time? 7:30? Holy crap, we're doing great. We are doing fantastic. Duplicate the layer, free transform, flip vertical, slide. It is what that is. And then, bloop, weapons. Good. Good. There you go. A manta ray. A skiff. That's my profile. Danku. Nice. All right, so we're on to... The flitter intimidates me. It does, no lies. I'm going to fix my chair. My pad on my chair keeps falling off. So I'm going to do that and take a swig of coffee and then get bold. Start working on our flitter. God, we have a whole half hour. I can't believe how quickly we're moving through crap. This is the bag over here. That's great. Oh, man, we're doing fantastic. All right, so how do we build this? Color. Vom. Okay, so here's our flitter outline. Starmoth. Here's our Starmoth deck plan for 200 by 200 vessel. And then this little guy is only 50 feet, so it fits inside of one of these squares. What is going on? Like you could have one of these on the underbelly. You have one here. You can have another one here. 1, 2. Yeah, you could easily have 3 of these flitters mounted on the underbelly of the Star Moth. Like on all these Spelljammer ships, they have they have this plane of gravity, like that cuts through the ship. And I want to switch to black, 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 bloop, black, black, black. That's where we're at. So there's this gravity plane that cuts through the ship. And on the top part, gravity goes like that, so you stand on your deck. But the bottom of the ship, you can stand underneath it like this. So on all of these larger ships, all the underbelly is always dead space. It's not used. None of the ships really use that space for anything. So so you can fit these, like you could like this ship isn't very big. The Damselfly is only like 100 feet long, so a large vessel like the Star Moth would be, or this flitter, like it could fit underneath here, but it's huge. So it's like that's a big carry. But again, for the Star Moth being so huge, it's not much of a lift at all. So, but then the Damselfly that we're illustrating, you know, it's, oops, why? What are you glitching? Oh, that's because it's locked. Thanks. Like this Damselfly is pretty small in comparison. So you got the Damselfly here is 100 feet. You got the Star Moth that's 200 feet. And then you've got this flitter, which is only 50 feet. So these how these things scale in comparison. So fun stuff, though. Fun stuff. Lock that back. Nope, not that one. Take this one. Lock that back in here. Get rid of the lock on that. I'm going to push this over here to the side. And then you got the armadas, which are like elven flagships, and they fit 500 feet in scale, so they're freaking massive. These things are so big that you could have a Star Moth sitting inside of like you can have a Star Moth mounted on the bottom of this thing like that if you wanted to, but the real power of an armada is that you can have so many of these little flitter ships for transform. So here's your armada, right? You got these flitters. easily have a bunch of little flitters hanging out. You know, if you wanted to. So you can stack this up, and then you have a squadron of these little flitter ships that are defending your armada. Gets to that's kind of cool. That's fun stuff. I enjoy it anyway. So let's grab that. Enough messing around. I got work to do. I'm obviously procrastinating. You can always tell when I'm procrastinating because I start pushing pixels around and playing. I start playing Hot Wheels, basically. So get back to work, Kearney. Get back to work. Oh yeah, we wanted to use that color pattern. So let's dive into that. Tastes like purple. Let purple be our base. Select, modify, contract by 1 pixel. There we go. Chip chop chiri chiru chirum. I really need to stop doing that. Now we'll smooth this out a little bit. It's the exact same process that we went through with the manta ray. We are now beginning that process. This is a larger, more complicated ship. And so here's the footer that we're working on, and here's the spiderling that we'll do last. So I need to fix this in-between space to be more spindly, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with it. We'll work on that one. We'll probably have to finish this one up tomorrow. And yeah, God's willing, we'll have this one done tomorrow, and we'll be working on the spiderling for Thursday and Friday, and then finish that up. So I'll probably work on this flitter some tonight off screen. I think I've done enough ship tokens for folks to get it, you know? They're fun to do, but I got a lot on my plate. So some stuff I do on stream. I don't do like the whole book on stream. There's no way. There's too many production hours that go into the book. I mean, I'm on episode... What is this episode? This is episode 91, so I've got about 180 hours of time logged on just on stream of me producing this book. The maps, the chip tokens, the preliminary stages of the page layout, the book cover. That is a ton of work, and we haven't even started the interior illustrations yet. So this is probably going to be like a 600, 700 hour project. So I'm not going to stream all of that. But I don't mind putting in a couple out, 2 hours in the mornings is to get my blood pumping and get my creative juices flowing for the day before I step into my corporate job and pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And we only have to do half of the ship because we can just mirror the rest of it. Symmetry is beautiful. But you gotta love the process. You want to get good at art, you got to get good at process. You got to get good at grinding. There's no fast solutions. There is no... See, that AI is... I've heard this comment before, so it's not an original thought, but AI is robbing people of the process of labor, of hard effort. Like, art is such a frivolous pursuit, fit for a society that's conquered its environment. It's not the time that it takes to produce something is not... That's not a bug, it's a feature. So in your art, when you get good enough with your craft that you can turn off your brain and just let your body go through the motions, you're letting your body do what it's going to do, but you're not being burdened with it. Oh, that's good. Adjust my seat. I think the Buddhists would agree that the big scam of life is that we convince ourselves that we actually have control of our bodies, but we don't. We don't know what emotions we're going to feel from moment to moment. We don't actually have control over what actions our body takes from moment to moment. How many times does the well-intended person think to themselves, I want to exercise, but then they don't? Why didn't you exercise? You said you wanted to. It's because your body isn't scripted to do it right now. You can beat yourself up for days about not doing something, but if your body isn't going to do it, why are you blaming yourself? You can't hold yourself accountable. Now this sounds like a cop-out, but walk through the process with me. You can't hold yourself accountable, and how to put it? You can't emotionally blame yourself for not doing something that you think you want to do, because you can't actually make your body do anything. It's not accurate to say I willed myself to do this thing, because like you could decide I'm not going to eat an Oreo cookie, and like 10 minutes later you're eating a fucking Oreo cookie. Like, was it because you failed yourself and that you just refused to obey the command that you gave to yourself? Or is it that you were always going to eat that cookie and you had an opinion about it that you formed into a thought of, I'm not going to eat that cookie? Why wouldn't you eat that cookie? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you look at that cookie? It's like, I'm going to enjoy eating that cookie when I do. And then when your body decides to eat the cookie, you're like, I am enjoying this cookie. No, what you're doing is you're pre-saddling yourself with guilt and lessening the joy of eating that cookie. Like, why do you even have that cookie? If you didn't want that cookie, why do you even have it with you? It's like, well, I don't know why I bought the cookie. Exactly. You can't hold yourself accountable because you don't know why your body decides to do what it does. But our mind is a passenger inside of this body, and we've tricked ourselves into thinking that we're the pilot, but we're not. We're not really the pilot. We are the passenger. And it's my firm belief, and be welcome to have your own, but I believe it is our destiny to enjoy the ride. And until you can just relax, and as Bill Hicks would say, just enjoy the ride, you are always going to be fighting yourself, thinking that you are to blame for when your body doesn't do what it was never going to do anyway. You just don't have the memo. You just don't get the advantage of knowing in advance what the body is actually going to do. So it's a constant surprise, and that's scary. So to help mitigate the fear of not knowing what happens next, we try to create boundaries, constraints, and rules that we have to follow, most of which we're incapable of actually performing. We can't say I'm going to spend X hours doing task Y. We can't guarantee that. We could want to do it, but we can't guarantee it's going to happen because we don't have control over that decision. It's our decision to appreciate what actually happens and to not be so hard on the stick about where it goes, but to relax and go for the ride. Enjoy the process. So artists train themselves to go along for the ride. Like, I don't know what is, I have an idea. I have an inkling of what this thing is supposed to look like, but I don't actually know what it's going to look like until all the pixels are pushed. And when you get to, and once you get at a certain caliber of skill with your craft, you don't have to micromanage the task, which is why I can ramble on and pontificate about stuff forever while I'm doing art, because I'm literally not investing any psychic energy, like any emotion, into pushing the pixels. I am just riding along in the process of pixels being pushed. My body knows what to do. It knows where to go. It knows what it's supposed to look like. It has the skill set to perform that task autonomically or on its own without me having to specifically dictate where the pixels are going to get pushed next. So an artist has a great opportunity to be that passenger, to be both realizing that I am the one that's pushing the pixels, but also realize that actually it's my body that's pushing the pixels. I just get to witness the manifestation of the artwork. Life is the exact same way in that we push our meat machine through the pink lengths of reality to wherever it's going to be next. Breathing whatever it's going to breathe, saying whatever it's going to say. And artists have an opportunity to understand, maybe faster than anyone else, that it's just a ride. So if you make your art your life, if you allow your own existence, your daily grind to become your expression of art, then you have the opportunity, as the Buddhists would say, to set down your load and then pick it back up again. So humanity, being alive, is really just a process of letting yourself off the hook for what happens and to appreciate the ride. And the more you appreciate it, the better it becomes. The more relaxed and gentle and fulfilling it becomes for people around you. The more you become an expression of art to them as well, because they feel better around you. Just like listening to a great song makes you feel good. Becoming that song yourself allows others to feel good around you, and you become an expression of love. But there's discipline that has to be acquired in that emptiness. Just like an artist has to log in the hours to be able to push pixels long enough to get good at their craft. Being alive is also its own craft. And if we do a great job with it, we get to realize that it's a ride before the ride is over. Anyway, my own personal philosophies. But I'm an artist. I turn off my brain and things come out. I like Epidemic. Epidemic is my music stream of choice. I've got maybe like 6 hours of music that I've just found on Epidemic that I just load in. This is one of them. This is that smooth jazz dentist waiting room type music. I'm not much of a jazz fan, but I freaking love this music. It's so relaxing. I love it. But I can't listen to Sepultura and Pantera and stuff on stream because, you know, license hits. I did that on Twitch so much that I got kind of banned from monetizing my channel. I'd have to start it over again. And I'm like, well, I have to export all my stuff out of Twitch onto YouTube anyway. I may as well just stream on YouTube. Screw you. But I didn't realize that YouTube would crap so hard on the art streams. It is a very different creature from Twitch. Very different type of audience. Like, you build differently here. I'm no expert on any of this, so I'm doing it all wrong. Hell yeah, smooth jazz. K-Y-O-T. The coyote. Smooth jazz. Almost finished the circuit. We'll then be able to duplicate and flip the layer. And once we do, we'll be able to start on the interior. This is going to turn out okay. What is this, Tuesday? Jeez. So, barring natural disaster, we should have this finished tomorrow, which leaves us Thursday and Friday to work on the Spiderling. And Thursday night is another Eberron cartography stream that will continue working on the underground bunker. Thank you. So where are we at? 7:52? So yeah, we're in our official wind down. I should have enough time to finish this wing and then check out before 8 o'clock and then get to my day job. I'll be off stream for the rest of the day. I'll be back on again tomorrow morning in 22 hours. Again, to continue this and the Spiderling token. I'll be on Thursday night for the Eberron cartography. And then I'll be back on Friday morning for Spiderling token art. And then I'll be on Saturday morning to do, page production, page layouts for this book. And that will, since the tokens will be done on Monday, I will be able to, we'll see if there's, I need to do at least some of this page layout and like tables and charts and stuff on stream, because that's part of the process of like how these things get built, right? But I honestly don't know how interesting that footage is going, like how much people are going to enjoy that process. Like if it's not like I get a lot of attention as it is right now. It's still a pretty new channel. I only have like 140 subscribers. Like and subscribe, yo. It really helps the channel. Thank you. But yeah, I honestly don't know how much interest people have in layout work that I'm doing here. So I may just drop in occasionally just to show you guys where I'm at with that, but just mostly work offline. But I've got this morning stream that I do, and I get a lot of production, a lot of my production value in these 2 hours every morning, just to guarantee I keep moving forward. So I don't know if I'll continue doing Spelljammer in the morning, because once I get into the page layouts, again, it's if people enjoy watching page layouts, I'll do it. But I'll eventually be getting into, you know, page illustrations and like page dressing and all that stuff. I'll do that all on stream. So I'm trying to finish up the actual text layout off stream, so that I don't have to weigh down the channel with that. So I can stay focused on visual assets. So I'll do layout on Saturday, but my hope is that I'll actually have the initial page layouts done on Monday, so I can spend that week in the mornings doing tables and layouts and stuff like that. So like placing the tables and the charts on the page and building those out like in Excel. And then once I get those cleared and then reshuffle the page positioning so everything fits, then I'll start extracting pages, dropping them here into Photoshop, and like just literally like painting. Very good. Very, very good. All right. I'm going to, as advertised, copy, paste, free transform, flip vertical, slide into position, zoom in. Perfect. Merge down. All right, cool. So when we come back, we will continue asset production using the Star Moth color patterning. We've got the interior bit. We've got that plates done. So when we come back, we'll work on the torso, and then we'll work on the wings. Fun, fun, fun. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'm outie. I will see you guys back in 22 hours, and we'll continue this process. Bob's your uncle. I'll see you on the other side, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Cheers.